What's it on?
Yeah, you don't see it.
Oh,
It's
I see
small.
it
It's
there.
Bluetooth.
Okay.
It's Bluetooth.
I
You
guess
don't
I
see
could
it.
try to use
Yeah.
headphones and turn them around, see if that works. Want me to try that?
Headphones and turn them around. Why can't you leave them in the right direction?
That's
I'm
what I'm saying.
confused.
You put it in the mic, but you speak into the speakers. Into the.
Oh,
I'm saying
hey,
a headphone with no mic, but you can use
whatever you need to do, man.
Whoa.
I doubt if it's better.
You know what? I am so not on top of this. Hey, everybody, we're live streaming. We'll be right back.
So, what do we have here?
Report says head trauma while on cleanup duty in Sector 2.
We're getting interference from the implant.
How are they awake?
Now what's going on?
Okay, here we go. Wait. The simulation's not obeying my reboot commands. If we don't contain the ZDNA data, the virus could leak it to the outside world. Just don't die too much. Or at all. Your vitals are seriously erratic.
You've got 10 bloody seconds! Do it now!
Wait. Who is that? Work together if you can.
Zeds incoming in 3, 2, 1. Bam! Headshot! Headshot! Unlimited ammo! Kill streak! Berserker! Rampage! New weapon now available! Decimation! Bloodbath! You're insane!
These system glitches are getting really annoying.
Ugh, I'm questioning a lot of life choices right now.
Thank you for your interest in the Georgia Game Developers Association's Patreon campaign. The Georgia Game Developers Association is a nonprofit that focuses on educating both game developers and fans on what is involved in making great games. For years we have put on live events to do just that, attracting some of the greatest thinkers in game development to share their secrets. Recently, we began our live streaming channel on Mixer to expand our ability to reach those developers and gamers far beyond our state. We have seen some initial success, but we are also hearing a lot of requests for more. More workshops, more in-depth interviews, more first looks at indie games, more giveaways, and more great streams. Your support will allow us to do just that. Even at starting levels, we both recognize your support and seek your input on what to stream. At higher levels, you can actually help shape our content, gaining priority access to our speakers, the chance to share announcements, and, at the highest level, running ads and promotions for all our viewers to see. So join now to get the inside scoop on game development and to help shape one of the best game dev channels on the net.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's stream where we are joined with several folks from the GGDA who have attended GDC. So go around, like wave to the camera and tell us who you are and what you're all about. Who wants to start?
It's a story of a lovely lake. Sorry.
All right, Joe, you started it. You're going. Go, Joe.
Okay, I am the Joe of Puzzles by Joe, and I'm going to keep it short tonight. I don't need to do the spiel about being a successful indie. So that's it. So that's me.
What's your game?
Need to?
Nah.
There we go. See, now you can see me. Hi.
Go ahead, Steven.
I'm next. Okay, I'm Stephen Borden. I'm a programmer and game designer. I've been working on a game called Voiceball that I showed at GDC, at All Control GDC. I'll probably talk about that more later.
It was awesome. I am Mike Stumhofer. I have started a studio called Hoff Studios, and we're here in Atlanta. And we're working on a game called Depth of Extinction. It's a turn-based tactics game. You know, feel free to Google it. If you can spell it.
I'll go next. My name is Robert Waller. I have a small indie studio here in Georgia. Small, as in me, one guy. I'm working on this game called Sinker right now. It's Sinker without the E. Yeah, thanks, Joe, my #1 fan. It released on Steam and mobile just recently, so check it out.
Sean, you're up.
Hey, my name is Sean Weiland. I'm an associate producer with iThrive Games. It's a nonprofit focused on pro-social outcomes for teenagers through video games. And I'm also a freelance sound designer and voice over scallywag.
Tim.
I'm Tim, aka known as Thug Geek, and last 10 years I travel, cover games, and I have a company called Villains Media where we're getting more into esports.
Cool. Andrew, are you going to make a voice? No, he's just going to show his.
This is Andrew, making sure that I only speak when I'm most upset is Brian. Oh, and I'm executive director of the GTA.
Oh, and I need to add just one thing. My game is called Clutter. I'm about to release the 8th version of that. Look it up.
All right.
Clutter 8.
It's not called Clutter 8, though.
I think we need to congratulate Andrew on his recent Kickstarter success. That
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you all very much.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm still in promote mode. And I watched my language on that one, Brian, so you should thank me for that.
You could see it? You could see your language?
My language?
Yeah.
Wow,
you watched your language?
Good man. Yes, I can see my logo. I can't stop logoing no matter how much I try.
So, all right. Yeah, so I'm going to kind of mute my mic in and out. You guys take over the show. I'm going to sit here and moderate. Tim, take it away.
No problem. So, what's your guys' best antidote for this year's GDC? Let's go first.
At the conference or after hours?
Yes.
Yes to that. Yes.
Let's go ahead and start with Steven because on Twitch he's showing up in the upper left.
All right. All right. So I was showing my game Voiceball at All Control GDC, which is an expo for weird controller games. And our game is controlled by your voice with microphones. And completely unexpectedly, we had some opera singers show up, and that was pretty amazing. They were doing things in our game that we've never seen before, getting like super technical about kind of the audio stuff happening in the game.
Did you record that?
Amazing. Oh yeah, we have a lot of videos.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. That's awesome. So one of the things about Screamball that I love is like when it actually gets big and goes popular and starts making millions. And starts having millions of players. How many police calls are going to be made from each household? Sorry.
How many police calls were made for SFG?
We'll go from swatting to voice balling.
That one.
Yeah, I'm going to pass it on. Who's next?
Let's take to Joe. He's next up on the Twitch lineup.
Okay. So I already told this, but I'm going to tell it again real quick and try not to bore the people that already heard it, which is just our 8 people here. I had a roller coaster ride. My computer was not stolen. I left my computer at a place where I got a burger, and when I realized it was gone and went to find it, it was gone. So that sucked. I had a couple commitments, but after that, I ran to the Microsoft store, bought a computer, changed all my passwords, did my due diligence, and that was the end. And called my wife and told her I was an idiot. And that went from that really low to I got invited to a breakfast panel the following morning with Dean Takahashi of GameBeat, and I was the lowest man on the totem pole, put it that way. I was in a room of people talking about emerging markets, and that meant people from China, people from Argentina, people from India, etc. And it was just great, and of course a free breakfast. So that was great. And then I finally made it over to the GDC to check the Lost and Found, which I was pretty sure no way in hell it was going to get turned in. But on the way there, I ran into Rami Ismail by himself, just standing. And I went up and did a fanboy gush for about 2 minutes. Stupidly did not think to take a selfie because I was on the way to do the Lost and Found. Anyways, I walked into Lost and Found, asked if anybody had returned a computer or turned in a computer, and the lady just started smiling. She was so happy to see me, and she basically sent a message to the guy. An hour later, he contacted me, and I got my computer back. So that's definitely my best story, so by far.
Wow. Did you give him a free copy of Clutter?
No, he got my business. I did pay him, and then he joined me and a couple of friends that night at more. And I'm just going to say this. I'm going to say this just because it does affect the way I deal with my anger and rants in general. It turned out he was a Trump supporter, and but he was a nice guy, which really helped me for people who know me, and some of the things I rant on Facebook. But he was a really, really nice guy, sweetest guy in the world. Refused to let the laptop out of his sight, basically. He didn't turn it into somebody else, and he put it in his hotel. He made sure it was safe until I got it back. We were a really nice guy. So, and we had a blast at Morton's with me, him, and 2 of my friends. Story's over. Boom. Next, Robert.
Oh, that's me. All right. So, GDC is about, or at least it is for me, networking, meeting new people, trying to figure out what's going on. This was my first GDC. It was really exciting. I've been to these kind of events before, but certainly not one in the gaming world. And so I wanted to kind of relate something that I learned, and that was give people the opportunity, every opportunity you can, to come up and talk to you and say something to you, because we're all kind of, a little bit introverted. So it's really nice when you have that opportunity to give somebody else a chance to come up and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, and what are you doing? What are you working on? So the best thing that I found, several of us attended this Connect dinner the first night, right? So you sit around at tables, you trade business cards, but that was good, but that wasn't the best thing. The best thing is you get this little party ribbon. It's a banner that you can put on your GDC badge, a little black banner, and I swear everybody at GDC came up and said, are you the party dude? Are you the party ambassador? And I'm thinking, wow, this was such a great idea to put this on my badge. It's great opening line. People come up and talk to you. I mean, fantastic.
What did it say?
It just said party.
Party.
P-A-R-T-Y. It was, people come up and look at your badge and see if you have a press credential or something. So, I had the party credential, and that got people to think, now what is that? So that you'll start talking to you, and that's really it was fun. Next.
Who's next?
I think that's Sean. Are you the last one who hasn't hit this one yet?
I think there's a couple of us, but it's a different order on my screen, so I'm I'll just wait till my name is called. So that was the Fellowship of GDC Parties mixer. So this was my 8th GDC. I started when I was in grad school, and that was the first year of the Fellowship of GDC Parties, and it has grown every single year. I'm trying to think my highlights this year. So my company does a lot of game jams at universities. So the day before GDC on Sunday, there was the International Conference of Game Jams and Hackathons, And so my artistic director was speaking there, and we actually had a game shown from one of our jams. And the girl showing it was, young lady showing it was actually a high school student that participated in one of our jams that had since turned 18. She was still a senior in high school, came and showed the game that she helped create and won the jam, and was out at GDC and having like her first GDC time of her life. So seeing her and seeing that happen was really, really, really sweet. And she was also one of the CAs at GDC, like one of the group of like 400 volunteers that helped organize the whole conference. So that was really sweet. I'm also in that program, and I do like the morning fitness announcements and try to get everyone to take care of themselves and not spread diseases and wash their hands and stuff. And other guy that normally does that was sick this year, so I took over his role. And as a voiceover actor, everyone was like, "Oh man, you nailed his voice. You're really doing great." Wasn't trying, just trying to think of what Dr. Ray would say.
No irony in that.
But it was a really sweet compliment that I got all week. Was you nailed his canter and his cadence and everything. Yeah, those were definitely two highlights. Lots of networking and whatnot, but those are the sweetest moments to me.
I'm curious, did anybody get sick? Did anybody get the GDC flu?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hold on. Mine is about that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's their best moment?
Not that I got sick, but that I refused to get sick. And I was trying not to shake anybody's hands. Everybody was getting the fist bump. and sometimes people were like a little bit offended. I don't know if it was like a cultural thing, like hold the fist up to someone. Maybe that's bad. I don't know.
Ian Schreiber gave me the elbow shake, which I'd never seen before.
And I was like putting hand sanitizer on like every chance I got. And so pretty much, I don't know if I offended people like that too. If I made a mistake and shook your hand, I immediately was hand sanitizing. And then the other weird thing that I saw that was kind of funny and doesn't really fit anywhere else was that, if you were over in the expo, maybe you saw in the Oculus booth, they had a Settlers of Catan VR game. If there was ever a game that does not need to be in VR, it's Settlers of Catan, in my opinion, at least. Isn't that like a social game that you play? And maybe it could be in VR if you're all in remote locations, but these guys were all around the same table playing.
Yeah, I saw a photo.
I'm like, wait, what the hell is going on here? Anyway, that was my anecdote. Well, I have a lot more, but they're another question.
I want to throw out the one thing. I got recognized by, I think, 4 people from Facebook that I've friended over the last year that, that I didn't really know. And
I came by and slapped you on the back at the top of an escalator.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
You didn't even recognize
what's going on.
Not memorable.
Something?
Did you say anything?
And then you stole your laptop.
Oh.
We talked
He's holding it for ransom. That's right.
All right. What's our next question, Tim?
Just gonna troll Joe from now on.
It's too easy.
Right.
Do something harder.
So who here has been to the previous GDC?
This guy.
I have
previous
not.
year or a previous year, any previous year.
Oh, just the previous from last year, like how compared to trash from this year to last year.
Not me.
What was the question?
Who's been to the previous GDC from last year?
I have. Looks
Yeah?
like Joe.
I have not.
Hey, Joe, why don't you go first and tell us how to compare for this year?
It was off the chart better this year for a couple reasons.
Okay.
The talks were better, and that's such a weird thing. But last year, I don't know if it was my mood or something, but it was different companies, same old story. And this year, the talks that I did go to were definitely better, but I didn't go to that many. I also focused on my own B2B prior to this year. I made a special business card, and I tried to set up meetings prior to going to GDC, which I usually don't do. But this year I was really focused on trying to network a little bit more. And I went to some evening parties I don't usually go to, and including the opening dinner, which was great, I thought. It just overall, just everything seemed better. I don't know. Oh, and my hotel was better. That helps too. I wasn't in a cave. So that was me.
You weren't shacked up with any other Atlanta travelers, is that what you're saying?
No, it's not. It's not just that. It's the size of the room itself was just better. And no, I actually put out the offer because in the past 3 or 4 years, I've shared rooms with people that are a little, have cost issues or whatever, and I try to make it easy for them. And that this year nobody took me up on it, and I didn't push, and I was happy to have a room myself. And even with that, the room was bigger, was over twice as big as the rooms I've stayed in. So it was a really nice hotel. The amenities were great, and the area wasn't too bad. There's always that. You have to keep your brain on when you're out there. That's the one negative of San Francisco and the GDC. You really have to keep your brain on, other than losing your laptop, when you're walking around at night. So, done. Next.
Keep your brain on for a bunch of nerds. That's not that hard.
With a few drinks, it is for a lot of people. There were some muggings. Alan Fowler from KSU actually stopped a bag being stolen.
Nice.
That was kind of cool. So
there's KSU Kung Fu.
Yep, but that was in broad daylight outside of Starbucks.
Wow.
Yeah, that's San Francisco.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it happens every year. Don't wear a giant alien, wear a backpack. Rule number 1.
Good rule of thumb.
Sorry, branding. So this was my 8th year going to GDC. It was bigger this year. They grew by 6,000 to 8,000 people, and there was a lot of construction going on at the Moscone Center, or Moscone, however you say it. This the center they host GDC at. So it was a little weird getting around this year, but content-wise, it seemed better. Their VR version of the summits, which is actually kind of incorporated with the passes now, so it was easier to actually go check out VR talks if that's your thing. That was fun and nice to see more ways to get involved with that, and it kind of settling into its own part of the overall GDC conference. I didn't get to see a whole lot of talks though. Like I said, I volunteer in the program out there, which is its own beast, its own group of people, which is also really fun and great to network with. But this year, I actually did the opposite of Joe. I organized less before the conference, and I kind of winged it during the day and every night when I had free time, and it ended up paying off pretty well. Since I'm now also representing iThrive Games, I get to talk about how games can be good for you, and different ways you can design games to be good for other people. And that was just carrying that message around in my pocket with some business cards and a couple cocktails, and not my backpack.
Yeah. And by the way, Atlanta was really well represented. Big difference for me. Instead of just 3 or 4 people that I'd run into and know, I really ran into people everywhere, and a lot of them were from what I considered my core group of kick-ass people like Mike, Kartik, Steven, Robert. It was really great to see them, out and about while, running around doing other stuff.
Yeah, I have to agree. I like immediately when I got there ran into Kartik and Eric and my friend Nick, all from Georgia. I saw most of you guys there. I went once 5 years ago, and maybe it's just that I know more people locally now, but I definitely felt like the presence from Atlanta was strong this year.
For sure.
Andrew might be able to answer this question. Where do we sit in the United States position-wise?
As of 2016, we were the 7th largest for game dev. I think that we've moved up to 6th or maybe even 5th if we've knocked Illinois off.
Very good.
Off the list, not like shot it in the back of the head.
We fragged them all. That's what gamers do.
It's the way Illinois would want it.
Who's next?
I think that's it. Me and Robert have never been. We're newbies.
That's right. Yeah.
I have never been to GDC. I'm looking forward to it. Sean, we're kind of related. Educational gaming. How do you GDC with educational gaming? Talk a little bit about it or your impressions of it. Would someone like me actually value traveling to GDC?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, the Monday night HEVGA, which is the Health Education Video Games Alliance, had a like a kind of like an open mixer. Is that a vacuum? What the hell is that?
I have no idea. Somebody was like doing a drag race outside.
Truck that drove by.
Who got a Harrier?
Oh, the fun of joy and chaos microphones.
Am I drag racing right now? What's going on?
But yeah, besides everything, so they have a large presence, and I mean, I got a lot out of just going that mixer and talking to people from Texas A&M and a university I can't pronounce because I don't speak French very well. Massachusetts, California, UC Davis. I mean, for me, and I actually still work in indie games as well on the side, but like just for my actual work, people that pay me angle, it was amazing. And then there's the whole education summit, which I'm pointing behind me for no reason, but yes, it is a very good conference for networking in the education, serious games. There's a serious games SIG, our special interest group, that you can go to while you're out there, meet with people.
I'm very looking forward to going to a GDC soon. Hopefully next year, right? Here we go.
I'll apply to the CA program.
It'll be hard to go before next year, so yeah. That's why you have Siege.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We have Siege, and by then somebody will make a portal for me, a time portal.
And the passes are cheaper.
Perfect. So Robert, what's the best session you attended while you're at GDC?
Ooh, that's a toughie. So I had the Indie Summit badge, so I could go to the Indie Summit talks, and I went to a handful of them. Spent a lot of time networking, but the one I enjoyed the most was the one by Zach Barth at Zachtronics. He's kind of the puzzle guy. You know, everybody's heard of his puzzles like Opus Magnum and Space Kim, and I mean, he's just the talk itself was entertaining. It was probably the most entertaining talk that I attended because he was a affable guy, really funny, and I really liked his stories. But I think the thing that struck me most is the way he approaches making games, and he explained it. Basically, some of his games that you're not familiar with, he'll take engineering problems and kind of distill out all the things that aren't fun about engineering. Say if you were, building electronics, and create a game out of it. And that's a way to think about creating games is just distill out all the unfun stuff, and what you got left is probably fun. And he and his team do a really good job of it. So that was my favorite talk.
Yeah, and he was just interviewed. It wasn't really a talk. It was an interview-based talk, which was very different for GDC.
Oh, that's true.
I think it was a last-minute thing that he got asked to do, and he because up to a couple of weeks ago, he wasn't even sure he was going to go to GDC.
Yeah, I think maybe that format made him more at ease than if he was actually had to give a talk. So it felt more relaxed. He was kind of relaxed, and I was relaxed listening to him and really enjoying to hear him talk. So that was my favorite. Who's next?
Who else had a good session?
What?
I mean, I really enjoyed the Spiderweb software guy, Jeff Vogel, did a talk.
Yeah.
I've always so I've been doing this for about 3.5 years, and I didn't find out about him until maybe like I was probably a year in. But as soon as I heard about his story and kind of his ethos, I thought, man, this is a guy who I really like what he's doing and how he's doing it. His thing is just make games and put them out. Don't spend a lot of money on art. Don't spend a lot of money on anything. Just keep, iterating on the game, making the system better. And he does these little RPG games. So it was more like a pep talk is what I thought of it when I got out of it. It wasn't like any kind of like, here's how to succeed. Here's how to do like me. It was like, here's what I did. You could, you can have success, but you need to figure out the ways that you can do that. So. I don't know. I like that. I also had the Indie Summit pass, so I had a limited number of talks I could attend.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Who else?
So I had an all access pass because I was part of the Alt Control Expo thing, but because I was doing that, I didn't get to go to too many talks, so it's kind of a bummer. But I went to a really good marketing talk by a guy from Butterscotch Shenanigans. They made Crashlands. They had just some really insightful things. Like he was saying, like just looking at their sales on mobile. I think most of their games were mobile until Crashlands. That's on Steam and mobile. But he was talking about the relationship of getting press to like sales. They didn't find a correlation there, but they did find that getting press actually kind of gave you some validation in terms of talking to like platform holders. So that could help you get featured, which would actually result in sales. I don't know, there are some other insightful things there. I think they use email marketing mostly, not social media, so they can kind of directly communicate with their players. I think he said they do in Crashlands. If a player has played more than 2 hours of the game, they actually pop up a little dialogue and ask the player if they want email updates. If you like this game, do you want to hear more about our other games? Or I don't know exactly what they email about, but updates or their new games. I don't know. It just was interesting. If it comes up in the vault or on YouTube, you should check it out.
Cool. And as a side note, if you've seen me diving off the edge of the camera here, folks, I'm sorry. I'm suffering the good old Georgia pollen. So, yeah, diving off camera to blow my nose.
I'm not seeing you on camera at all.
Okay, good.
If you hear a nose blowing sound, it's Brian.
And Robert is drinking a non-alcoholic beverage, right? All right, very good. No sponsorship. There we go.
Too late.
What else you got for us, Tim?
So we actually got a question from stream. Aurora Game Developer Club, Ron Williams asked, what kind of badges you guys got from the GDC and why?
Access?
Badges.
What kind of badge?
Indie badge?
Oh, badge.
Kind of badge.
Yeah, I'll start on this one. So I used to be all access, which was, I decided stupid year after year for a couple annoying things. Number one, you actually have to wait in line longer for the Indie Summit, and that's about the only ones I go to. And even with the Indie Summit, you know, that you can go to, there's quite a few of the sponsored talks you get to go to. You know, if you just look on their app, you don't have to just be in the 2 indie rooms. There are some other things going on. And of course, this year, Unity was free the whole time. You could just walk over to Unity and it didn't matter. And in fact, that's my big regret, is not checking them out earlier, because if I had checked them out earlier, I actually would have booked the entire Friday and then stayed that day. Instead, I flew home on Friday. But the Indie Pass is so much cheaper than the All Access. And I want to thank Ron Williams, who I think was the person who just asked that question, because he's the one that made me rethink that strategy. So
he told us all the day it went on sale. He's like, "Get the Indie badge."
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
Ron should be on this call. He should be on this call for sure, Ron.
Yeah, he should, because he's.
I want to hear his stories.
I
bet he has some good stories.
Yeah, he's big at the IGDA, and the IGDA party this year was better than, was even better than last. It was just really done well and a lot of fun.
I got my pictures.
Oh, good.
Did you take pictures, Joe?
Yeah, because I got my tickets. I ran around before everything was busy. And by the way, I had another quick anecdote. While doing karaoke, I had a guy look up and go, "Hey, that's Joe from Facebook." And he turned out to be a great guy with a great game. And I met him for lunch the next day, and he's got a little scroll runner game that's really cool. I'll try to post to this afterwards, the name of it. But his name's Jed Goebel, and his game was really cool in that it was a sideways, scroller, but if you jumped and then hit the spacebar while you jumped, you went on the ceiling. And it was a cute little game, and he even had ghosts with it, which I'd never seen. I'm sure maybe some of these ideas are elsewhere, but he had ghosts, which were your lives, and they would run through things occasionally if you didn't jump high enough and don't get hurt because they're ghosts. And then if you get killed, the ghosts just keep going until they become hard, and then you have to not run into things. But
we were supposed to promote our games, not somebody else.
Hey, this was a great guy. That's all I can tell you. We promote all games there, Mike.
No.
Georgia first, but all games second.
So I got the Indie Pass because Ron Williams told me about it, and he obviously wants us to promote him, which I will do. It's Aurora Game Dev Club. You can Twitter and Instagram, and I have a shirt somewhere. Oh, and see, Joe's got a shirt. And,
yeah, this is from KSU's Game Club.
Let me tell you, the Indie Summit badge is a fantastic deal because it's like $50 more than Expo Plus and $100 more than Expo, I think. And you get 2 days of talks. You get basically the Expo Plus badge. You can go to the IGF. You can pretty much do everything you want to do. So I would not see a reason other than I didn't buy this pass before it sold out to buy like an all-access pass. But who knows? Maybe if your company's paying for it, it's probably worth it. But for indie like me, I gotta save money. So.
What? You're not making millions off your first game? I'm kidding.
Well, when I haven't actually put it up for sale yet, it's hard to make money.
Very good.
I mean,
Hey, special shout out to Ron though in Indie Cluster, right?
No, that's wrong, Ron. Wrong, Ron.
He's cool too, though. They're both cool.
I
They're
just
totally
said the wrong name.
Ron. I used to call him Clean Cut Ron, but now he's growing his hair out, so I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, that's better than the other Ron.
Oh, you're not talking about IGDA, Ron.
I like
right?
both Rons. What do you?
I know exactly. So.
Both Rons are amazing
so he
folks.
Count on this question. Steven got that free all right.
Yeah, if you ever make a game with a weird controller, I definitely recommend submitting it to All Control. It was a great experience. Got that free all access pass that I didn't get to use that much. But just being on the expo floor showing my game was just like an insane amount of traffic. Like we've been showing this game at local Atlanta events for the past year and kind of refining the game, and that has been awesome. But this was just like a flood of traffic the whole time.
Yeah, you had a great spot too. It was right on the aisle. And
you did. You had the choice spot, definitely.
It was a happening spot.
Mm-hmm.
And right across from Train Jam.
And people just screaming. So, I mean, come on. That's got to drive a lot of traffic.
It wasn't too bad, though, because the room is so big that,
We've actually...
there's so much going on.
We've changed the game so you don't really have to scream so much. It's a little... more nuanced now.
All right, cool. That's an update I didn't know about.
Doesn't prevent you from screaming now.
Oh yeah, you can still scream if you want, but you don't.
This might be more for me now, Steve. I thought it was still the scream. I'm gonna try it next.
You're welcome to make whatever sounds you want, but
ambulance sound works. It's a kick-ass strategy. That ambulance.
Mm-hmm. Ambulance.
We all do it for Steven.
Yeah, so in the game, your pitch controls like the y-axis of you have like a waveform spikes. So if you do an ambulance, it'll go like, and you can like hit the whole field. It's like foosball.
All right, I got some really good stories here for these later questions. I'm afraid we're not getting to them. I should.
Yeah, let's move on.
We're good.
All right,
we're good.
Tim. We're good on time, folks. We're good.
So speaking of that,
okay, you had me worried there.
Question online, Tim. If you didn't see that one,
no, I did
not. We got another question online. I'll go ahead and hop to it then. Where did it come up? It's on our Twitch. Here we go. Aurora GDC. Ooh, what a name. What kind of plan did everyone have going into GDC?
Oh, that's a good one. I think I didn't have as much of a plan as I wanted to. This was going to be my best thing I learned at GDC was that I needed to prepare my plan better. I thought I had a decent plan, but then I realized when I got there that I missed on some stuff, and I should have gotten on the ball maybe a few weeks sooner than I did, and I would have booked more meetings and things like that. So I don't want to go into too many details, but
I feel like the Brady Bunch here. I'm going to go ahead and point to the next person, which is Steven.
Yeah, I don't know. My plan was just to show my game. We made some marketing materials and stuff. I felt pretty good about that. Usually I'm not that prepared. But yeah, maybe if I had tried a little harder, I would have tried to set up some meetings or something, but I didn't know how to do that. I don't know.
Up and
I know,
over to
it's like
Joe.
a learning process.
I actually met my main goals with the breakfast was great. I wanted to hunt down the Congregate people to find out about Cartridge, and I was able to do that. And I meet with a couple of my distributors, which is always fun and nice. Just to, hopefully get them to give me a little more marketing, down the road. So it was a great GDC this year for me. So, and that's it.
Moving right along, Robert. Since Mike's already talked about it, Robert.
Yeah. All right. So this is actually, I plan, but what actually I learned about GDC is sometimes the plans just go out the window and you learn something that you didn't expect. And the big thing for me was I participated in this big indie pitch thing. It's this event put on by the Steel Media folks. So they shortlisted about 20 mobile games to get into a room with judges. So they called it speed dating. So there were 2 judges, industry judges at 6 tables, and you had 4 minutes to pitch your game. So I worked really hard to get a pitch sheet for Syncer, and really have a 4-minute pitch that I thought could work. And this event took 5 hours of my time at GDC, and I'm thinking, there's my pitch sheet, right?
Way to go, Joe.
And it was the most amazing experience. It was exhausting, but what I learned was that it wasn't about the pitch. It wasn't about winning the pitch. I didn't win, long story short. There were some fantastic games in there, but the best thing about it was networking. So it was over at the Courtyard Marriott, so that we were all in one of these rooms. So you're in there with 20 other devs that are really sharp, have really good games, and you're playing each other's games while you're waiting to go in the pitch room. And this lasted for 5 hours. And so you're really trading business cards, trading stories. And I learned so much from the other people at the big indie pitch. I will take that opportunity every time it's presented. That was really good. It's not what I expected. I expected this to be promoting Syncer and trying to sell that to win the prizes, which is a lot of advertising on the Steel Media sites. But the experience was wonderful.
Next, I can't reach you in my windows here. I'm gonna have to ask Tim to point at you, Sean.
We can't see people pointing.
just say you're pointing at someone. So I heard my name.
I'm pointing on the stream. You guys can't see me on Discord. I'm sorry, but everybody else on the stream can see me. It's sneaky like that,
Useless. No, your guys is the broad overview is kind of what I've started doing for GDC, is to have 1 or 2 talks I really want to see have at least one event every night that I'd like to go to, not necessarily that I'm going to, and then kind of wing everything else. Just I set up meetings with people that I want to reconnect with, because it's after 8 years, it's just kind of like, oh man, I want to go talk to so and so again just because they're cool or I like them, or they might align with what I'm doing, but at least I can go sit down, chat, reconnect, and then they'll ask me what I'm doing this year, and they're like, oh, you should go to this party tonight, or you should go to that. And just those little bits of networking, standing outside of a room, standing outside of a talk that you're really, 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 really interested in, is how I kind of flow into the rest of my GDC. Is really because it's the giant and one of the best networking events. So that's kind of what I just let it be. The first couple of years, I tried to do 3 parties a night, and that was fun. But I'm older, can't do it. So it's I've definitely let it just kind of be a little bit more casual and randomly guided, or guided by people who think are smarter than me. Next.
That's you, Tim.
Right. So what's the best thing that you learned at GDC? Let's go first.
What was the question?
What's the best thing you learned at GDC?
Yeah, pick a victim, Tim. Just point him out. I mean, call him out.
Let's go, Steve.
I'm gonna kind of clarify a little bit. Everybody's been talking about networking, which to me feels like a very businessy kind of buzzword, but at GDC, what it really means is every person around you is for one thing, like a few of the people I went with had never been to GDC before. They were like kind of amazed how friendly everyone is. But also like all of those people, like you randomly like talk to anyone and they're going to be someone really interesting and cool and probably have worked on a game that you played or just have like cool ideas about games. And so really just like the people that I met, I think was the coolest part. Like I don't think I've learned anything that was like mind blowing, but just meeting a ton of awesome new people was the best part for me.
Impressive. What about you, Robert? What do you think?
Well, I think I kind of answered that already in the last question, because what I learned is that I had to reset my expectations, for that the big indie pitch where I thought I was going to be pitching my game the whole time. And really what I learned was those events are just wonderful for getting around in a closed room and learning, from other people and trading stories and networking. So, just be prepared to reset your expectations. That's what I learned.
What about you, Joe?
Well, 3 things real quick. Number 1, Andrew's brother's more fun than Andrew.
Oh my goodness.
That's number 1. I have a picture to prove it.
Oh my God, I'm afraid to ask about that one. Don't post that online. And not in the stream. This is not an AO stream.
It has nothing to do with soap. Okay. Anyways, the second thing is I am never bringing my laptop to GDC again. I mean, maybe for one meet, kind of a thing, but I'm not lugging it around ever freaking again. Okay? That was 2. Number 3, it was really nice in Zach's talk interview that we had a couple things in common. I mean, he's actually, I'm going to shout it out. He's an alumni of RPI. Met him a few years ago after he did the Space Chem thing and have always been just super impressed with him. I was sitting in the audience and he said 2 things that resonated with me, even though I'm a much smaller scale than his success with all his stuff. He said basically he created his own niche, whatever you want to call it, and that people now even release a game and they call it a Zach-like game because of this, they call him programmer-like too. And then he said something else that I also could include in this last couple of years, especially when I talk to newbies and stuff. Basically, all my experience doesn't mean shit because, I couldn't dupe it. If I didn't already have clutter that started 7 years ago, I'd be in trouble because I don't really know how to succeed again. And he pretty much said the same thing, that if he hadn't already done what he did and he put out Space Chem today, he has no clue whether it would do well at all because of the, no pun intended, the clutter of the market, too much, everywhere. So it's interesting to hear a smart guy like him admit that, which is, again, I think that's what keeps him going, is that to succeed in this business, you have to know the difference between luck and skill and then still keep working and realize how you got lucky because of timing and other shit. Because if you don't and you let ego get in the way and you go, I'm totally responsible for my success, you're going to just make bad decisions. So he's a smart guy, and I loved hearing that because even though it's sort of confirmation bias, that was my high point of confirming something. So, and again, he plays at such a bigger level than me. Really smart, off the chart guy. So that's it.
Perfect. Mike, you want to go?
Sure. I mean, I said before, I feel like I need to plan better a little bit in advance, and I'll echo Joe's sentiment on the laptop. I feel like I've lugged my laptop around for absolutely no reason for like 2 or 3 days, and then I ended up taking a trip back to my Airbnb to even drop it off, so I didn't have to keep lugging it around. The other thing I would say is that I might not be as in a hurry to run out to these like crazy like public parties, like the other party and some of those that, where you can't even like get to the bar and you can barely move in these places. And, we didn't really know how it was going to be, those of us that went for the first time this year. And maybe it's a kind of a learning experience to know what parties you should go to and which ones you should just avoid,
Speaking of which, though, what was the best party that you guys attended?
Ooh.
I mean, for me,
remember you're on camera.
Yeah.
For me, I would say that the Unity party because that was freaking awesome. They were making donuts like right in front of you.
I'm going to ask you to repeat
frying
that.
them.
Hey, Mike, I'm going to ask
not
you to
come across.
Yeah, apparently my interwebs decided to lag out on your answer. So repeat that, please.
It's cool. So it was a Unity party, and basically they had a donut station where you could get hot, like right out of the fryer donuts and like cover them with whatever topping you wanted. They had like chocolate, caramel, Lucky Charms. I don't know.
Nice.
Marshmallows.
Any Homer Simpson donuts?
What's that?
Any Homer Simpson donuts?
No, you probably look like Homer Simpson if you went through that line a couple times.
Were they all made out of dough?
Awesome. Yeah.
Doing duck.
I mean, there was a lot of good parties. The GitHub party was good too. That was kind of unexpectedly good. We didn't really think that was going to be all that, but man, their office is crazy. They have like a bar, basically a sports bar in the bottom floor, like a full bar in the office. It's cool, whatever. It's where I go to work.
John, what was your favorite party?
The ones I'm allowed to talk about.
Yeah, remember you're on camera.
Right. So there are a few like super private ones that weren't really easy to get to that I went to, but the Hevga party was actually really, really cool. So the Health and Education Video Games Alliance, which is on Monday, they had a Korean barbecue truck and
nice.
Open bar for drinks and really super intelligent people to talk to, which was nice. Aside from that, go to the W. Man, if you got nothing else to do, there's always people in the video games industry hanging out at the W, which is right across the street from the Moscone Center, just in the lobby bar, networking, hanging out. And I think every night, if I didn't have anything to do, I'd go there for like an hour and just bump into someone either I knew or that was fun to talk to.
Oh, that's a good
Joe?
I second the Hega party or whatever it was, and maybe you ran into me there because it's definitely there till like 9:30 or whatever.
Somehow I missed you.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I definitely love education people to begin with. That party was great, and really the IGDA did a great job this year for a lot of things. And I'm going to point out one other thing the IGDA that I highly recommend is their scholarship program is so kick-ass because they have the nicest, smartest freaking people, and it just renews my faith in the world when I meet, a person just with that much energy and intelligence at that age that's still optimistic. So, and at the IGDA, you really see it. And I actually know the head of the IGDA, too, so it was nice to run into her. I think she's done a great job since she's just recently taken over, but the whole thing was really good. Even the bartender was really funny. He even let me tell him a joke, and it was great. And Daniel's brother was there. Andrew's brother was there, Daniel, which just made my night complete. So,
with soap.
No soap.
All right.
Radio.
So Steven, on the side note, before we pass the question on to you, I want to let you know that you do have a shout out on YouTube from Ben Berg saying "Go Steven." There you go. But in the meantime, what did your cat, who we just saw, what was his favorite part? His or her favorite party?
I don't know. My girlfriend said that they my cat. We have two cats. That they missed me. They screamed a lot because I'm usually the one that feeds them. So, but yeah, my favorite party I think was the IGDA party too, and there was another one called the Unparty. Basically, I think maybe I'm just getting old and I like the chill parties that don't have loud music and the lights are on and can actually talk to people without screaming. Yeah. I also went to that party and they had some cool indie games that I've never seen before that were multiplayer, that were fun.
I guess
those are my highlights.
All right, cool. I guess Robert, you're up next.
Ooh, I kind of echo what everybody said. The parties that I enjoyed the most were the ones where you could talk to people, which is kind of what we're all there for, to network and so forth. So the ones if you couldn't talk, if you had like a couple of them where they're just, club music and it's dark and, that just doesn't go over well with me. So like Mike said, the GitHub party was really good for talking because it had the lights on, there wasn't loud music, and you could talk, and they had easy access to the bar. And the Unity party was great for food. They had these poke bowls, and they had the donut factory. Mike didn't really explain it, but that donut thing was an actual factory. Conveyor belts. You could just sit at the end of it, and the donuts would drop into your gullet. It was really amazing. So, that was good. I met a lot of interesting people and really enjoyed the parties where you could talk. So if music was too loud, that wasn't great. But
So the loud music and dark room parties are a lot of fun. But if you want to get some communications done, then go to the parties that have the lights on and no loud music. I guess that's the theme to the answer here. Andrew, what was yours?
Mine was definitely when Sage threw a dart into somebody else's eye, but that was here.
Oh my God!
Ow!
Remind me, never go to your house.
Yeah. It was a party.
Hey, can I ask a question of the group?
Go for it.
Uh-oh, things are going out of control. Tim, stop him.
What was your favorite game that you saw that somebody else did? And definitely doesn't have to be Atlanta-based by any means. And I'll start. There was a game called Cosmic Top Secret that was just awesome that I think won some awards, but I ended up running into them at lunch, and it was really cool and very interesting. For a pretentious indie art game, it was awesome. So.
Ooh, I'll give one. Baba Is You.
I heard that was great.
I had never seen this game before, and I saw it at the IGF Awards, on the big stage, and it was just kind of amazing. So check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Baba Is You.
Let's just name all the IGF games. Night in the Woods. So I'd seen the other two before. I'd never seen that one, and people kept poking me saying, "You should play that game." And I was watching, going, "Yeah, I am going to play this game." So Night in the Woods, really, really cool, and won a couple awards.
All right. What else we got? Anybody else got a favorite game they saw?
I spent a lot of time at that party playing a game called Witch Ball. I don't know if it's really. I don't know anything about it other than I played a lot of it and it was fun. So Google it, I guess. I don't know. I haven't.
Oh my gosh, I played a good bit of that Bennett Foddy game, Getting Over It, I think it's called. That I would never buy that game. So it had the opposite effect on me. A worse game.
You were like, no.
I was like really trying. Me and a couple of guys were standing there. We're like trying to figure this thing out, and it was. Oh my God! I don't know if you guys have played that game, but if you want to maintain your sanity.
Did you get to talk to Bennett Foddy?
No, was he there?
I don't know. He accepted an award, but I didn't see him at the IGF.
I did see him, but at the awards. But I was hanging around that IGF a lot, so I did not notice him. But maybe I missed him. I thought he was going to look like the guy in the pot. I thought that was the whole idea. It was him.
So
that was the case.
I've played a good bit of that game, and actually, it has. Has anybody else played it? It has Bennett Foddy does like voiceover in the game where he's actually explaining the design of the game, and I've shown it to a lot of my friends who they're not really that into games, and I feel like it's given them like some sort of appreciation of game design that they didn't have before, but also it's hilarious to watch. So works on multiple levels.
That was my complaint with the IGF Pavilion was there was no headsets or headphones there. I mean, at least not on the games I played. So I didn't get that at all. I missed out on like half the fun of that game, probably. All right,
Tim, what do we got next?
All right, so I know you guys are talking about the Unity booth. So who had the best booth there?
All right. For me, I I have two. I said I spent a lot of time at the IGF booth. I really liked that area. I thought that was cool. I had a good time. But the best booth had to be Epic. With the Fortnite booth. And it was hilarious. Okay, first of all, they had a mechanical bull that was just like a unicorn. So I don't know anything about this game. I never played this game, but somehow unicorns figure in. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But there was so if you stayed 30 seconds on this unicorn, you got a
llama pinata.
Pinata, yes, a pinata. And we had a friend of ours did it, and she said she took this pinata home with her, and I'm like, you're out. And they were handing out food. They had people walking around with trays of food, handing it out. They were giving out T-shirts. I got two T-shirts. I've never played the game. I probably never will, but I'll take a T-shirt.
I've got some of my students pester me about playing Fortnite, so they're gonna love to hear that.
It was hilarious. Probably the best booth there.
Yeah, they had very comfy couches there too. So.
Oh, they did. That's right.
Yeah.
That was sick.
Hey, can I throw out one other question? How was the rooming? 5, 6. How many guys did you have in that Airbnb?
Hey, Joe. No, you can't throw out another question. I'm kidding.
We had 5 people. It was me and Robert and Kevin Dressel and Stu Phelps and Kevin O'Neill. So if you don't know those guys, Stu's got a game called Neon the Ninja that's just out in early access. I'll give him a plug here. So go check it out, Neon the Ninja. Go check that out. And Kevin is he actually worked on Depth of Extinction with me, and also has like 3 other games he's working on. Clash Force is the one that's out. You can go buy that one. And Kevin O'Neill has got a little indie game he's working, not out. So it was fun. We had a good time. I thought.
We did. Yeah.
You'd do it again then with 4 or 5 other people in one house.
If we could find the right place. I mean, the place was amazing. It was a little further away than you might like, but Uber, no problem.
What about you, Rob? What about you for best booth?
Best booth. It's probably the best unbooth was the Unity booth, because it wasn't there in the Moscone Center. It was in their offices. So they scared everybody. It was sending everybody this email before the GDC saying you're going to have to sign this NDA even to get in the front door of the Unity office. But they didn't follow through on that. So that was great. They had great swag. Look, Mike's wearing it right now. They have a hoodie. They gave everybody
nice.
a backpack.
It's really nice.
Backpack. Yeah, it is nice. But it wasn't just the swag, but getting to see the offices where the folks at Unity work, and I spent some time in there, and it was really kind of an interesting experience. So good on Unity for and opening up their offices and doing that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I think they have ulterior motives though. There, I don't think they're doing it altruistically.
Well, like as you mentioned, yeah, I'm sure they didn't want to pay fees, but as you mentioned, that allows people that don't have the All Access Pass to get.
I mean, they were still a sponsor, and they did sponsored talks, so I don't think they were just doing it to get out of paying. They were just trying to augment it. And of course, they're a business, Joe. Come on.
Right. I was just a little busted because
if they go out of business, what are you going to do, man? You just learned it.
It's just a smart move, is what I'm just saying.
Yeah.
On their part, I was just. But it's Microsoft treats you nice,
Yeah.
They took everybody to Great America Theme Park for an evening 15 years ago, whatever it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think a little better about Bill Gates now because of that. I rode a roller coaster because of him. So.
Okay.
Right. Everyone giving their best booths. If not, I've got one last question. If you have, I've got one last question. Doesn't matter. Last question.
I didn't say my booth.
Oh, say your booth, say your booth.
Yeah, we got Steven and we got
There
Sean.
were like a good handful of like little indie game lounges that were all really cool. There was like Day of the Devs, Mild Rumpus, and Indie Mega Booth. There may have been more than that, but like there were indie games everywhere, and that was cool.
Very nice.
Sean.
Last question for me. More people
Sean,
haven't given their booth.
One more, Sean. You've been too
I
quiet.
only checked out a couple booths, but I like actually going to Qualcomm's booth just because I enjoy the work they do with their processors, and they were showing off a lot of VR this year, and a lot of mobile VR, which is really cool. And I always stop by the booth. That's kind of my go-to.
I enjoy talking to the deep mind people. That was great.
Andrew, you may ask your question, and I'll.
Thank you, Brian. Let's start with Joe. What is one thing other than losing your laptop you would have done differently? Or you wish you'd done differently? More promotional material brought, something you wish you'd set up ahead of time. What's something you wish you had done differently? Well, the heck with Joe then.
I know. I was like, wow, you actually made Joe speechless. Mark that on the calendar.
Eat a little less, that's all. I
he nailed GDC.
It was
what
great.
can he say?
There was nothing. I was perfect the whole freaking time.
He 10 out of 10'd it.
I saw Mike too often.
Ouch.
Wow.
Oh God!
Someone else has
mine,
something.
Joe. I saw you too often. You knew I was going to say that.
Boys.
Someone else have something they wish they'd done differently. Wish they'd done that they didn't do.
Oh, bring a
pitched. Oh, go ahead, Robert.
Oh, I'm just going to say, bring a backpack if you're going to haul around your laptop, because shoulder bags are bad for your back. I can attest to that. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say I would have pitched maybe a little more aggressively than I did. I went and talked to the congregate people and didn't even hand them my one sheeter, and I don't know. It's not really my thing to be pitching all the time. So I was prepped for certain pitches that I was gonna do that I'd set up, but I had a hard time just walking up to people and oh, here's my game, let me tell you all about it. So maybe I don't know if I could do that better, but that's what I might try to do better. But like I said, I would probably try to set up meetings ahead of time. More.
I can second that. I wish I'd set up a few more meetings, maybe 3 or 4, just because I know I missed out talking to a few people that I wanted to. I met other people instead. As far as a laptop, yeah, don't carry a laptop around. If you need something, carry your smartphone and get a little fold-out keyboard, because that's how I do my emails on site. And log notes and stuff.
Good idea.
$20 on Amazon, man. Little Bluetooth keyboard.
That's cool.
Totally handy and fits in your back pocket.
And he makes no commissions off of that either. So
I don't. That's why I didn't show the label of. Oh crap.
All right. I did not see any more questions within chat. So to close out the evening, let's go around and tell us who you are. What is your game or games that you want to promote? Be sure to tell us your website, Twitter, whatever you want to promote. Let's start with you, Steven.
All right. The game I've been working on, showed at GDC, is Voiceball. We are not a company yet, but we are a video game band. We're called Hella Velvet, hellavelvet.com. We're on Twitter and Instagram. I don't know. That's all I have to promote.
That is Hella, as in
Hella.
Hella Velvet. Also, too, just to make it a little bit more clear for our viewers. Joe, hit us.
Clutter 1000 in Unity coming out with 2 months. And that's it. And I'm Puzzles by Joe, and you can find me anywhere.
And that's puzzlesbyjoe.com, right?
Sure.
All right. Andrew, hiding behind the Noble Armada icon.
Hey, who are you?
No, wait.
Sage.
Yes, Sage.
And can you tell them about Noble Armada? Can you say Noble Armada? Noble Armada? Nope, never mind. You don't deserve it. Yes, so we just kickstarted Noble Armada. Check it out at holistic-design.com. And the GGDA, of course, is wonderful. And all of you should have already put in applications to be speakers at Siege. That is up on the ggda.org website. So thank you all very much for joining us.
Mike, hit us.
Yeah, I'm Mike Stumhofer. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's MikeST34. I have a game called Depth of Extinction, Hoff Studios, HOFstudios.com, if you want to check it out on the web.
It's a very cool game. By the way, we've done first looks on just about everybody except for Steven and Sean. Well, Sean, we've done an interview. We'll get to you. Joe, not Joe. Oh, God. Really? Robert, hit us.
Yeah, right. So this is actually, so my name is Robert Waller, and here's a handy tip from GDC that I learned. If you got your phone, everybody has a phone just like your phone, but if you put your business card on the back and tape it on there.
No need tape. There's a thing. There's this guy. He carries about 6 or 7 of them.
I see. But
Give them right out.
I figured if I lost my phone, somebody would give it back to me, or they would like take the business card off and buy my game, which is Sinker. Yeah.
That's right. If they have the audacity, to steal your phone, they should at least go buy your game.
Absolutely.
Sean.
Oh man, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at @mail_NPC. If you'd like to hear more about or talk to me about positive psychology in games and how you can design for it without actually being like, this is a game that's positive, you can go to iThriveGames.org. I also co-own an indie studio called Risen Phoenix Studios, RisenPhoenixStudios.com. We're currently also working on a tactics game.
Ooh, competition. When are you releasing?
Oh, like the end of the year at best.
Okay.
But make it fun of Super.
So you got 2 more years to go, Mike.
Hey, Sean, we will be doing a first look before long, right?
Oh my God, yes.
We're gonna be talking to you about a first look.
More art and recently, and it looks kick-ass. I showed people at GDC on the down low because we have a bunch of NDAs. Even though I co-own the studio, I'm still not allowed to show stuff. Oh, I almost swore. I think that's it. If you want a handmade instrument, I do that in my free time. Box acoustics.
Okay. Very cool. Tim, hit us.
I'm Tim. You can follow me at ThugGeekCom on Twitter, or you can follow my company, Villains Media. Check us out. We got some good stuff going on in the future. So.
Awesome. Tim's going to be working with us on the GGDA with more streaming content, so be sure to check out Tim and his content. I am Brian Miller. My company is Zapmill LLC. I focus on educational gaming, educational game development. There is a siren going on in the background. That is not me. That is somebody playing Screenball. So, but anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in to tonight. This has been an awesome discussion about GDC. Before we go along, what have I got? I'll do a few quick announcements. Thanks to our Patreons. Our Patreon, we are a non-profit organization, so your support will help us to improve game developers and our community, and as well bring better games to life. Like everyone you heard tonight, our stream is for gamers looking to learn more about what goes into making their favorite games. It's also for designers looking to break into the industry and experienced designers looking to improve their skills. And certain levels of our Patreon members get to join our streams on Voice Access. I'll learn how to talk here soon, maybe. Anyways, patreon.com/Georgia Game Devs. Sticking with that, we are streaming across YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer. You can find all of those at /Georgia Game Devs. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to hit the like button. Give us the follow button, all of that. Give us a hand. Help us out. We really, really appreciate that. Otherwise, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And thank you to all of our people, Steven, Joe, Mike, Robert, Sean, yes, and Tim and Andrew, who's remaining hidden behind his noble armada. Otherwise, everybody, thank you so much, and good night.